Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome guys to this channel, Roots of Knowledge, and welcome to Mukhtasar al-Qudoori. I hope you guys have been having a fantastic time. Ramadan has passed, and maybe if you're watching this in the future, many Ramadans have passed. Inshallah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful time and are going to enjoy this series. So this series is dedicated to explaining to you guys Mukhtasar al-Qudoori. We've actually started a new chapter here, which is called Kitab al-Shuf'a. Those of you guys who don't know, then inshallah I'm going to explain this this chapter to you guys. So Kitab al-Shuf'a. So Shuf'a, as you guys know, initially I explained to you the text and then I go through the Masail itself. So Kitab al-Shuf'a. So Shuf'a is basically preemption, right? So preemption. So to preempt. Basically what happens is, this word is literally from the word shafa'a. Shafa'a, it means to make something even. So from odd to even, right? So odd to even. So Kitab al-Shuf'a. Shuf'a is all about this idea of a sale that you're going to go into where you're selling your property and then the rights of the neighbors, basically. That's what it's all about. And inshallah, I'm going to explain. Stay till the end, inshallah. You'll understand more about this masala. So Shuf'a, it means the preemption. Wajibatun means obligatory. Khalit, it means someone who is a partner. Yeah, so someone who shares, partner. Nafs al-mabi, the mabi in and of itself, right? So nafs al-mabi in and of itself. Khalit, again, shared, the partner in the haqq al-mabi. So haqq is the rights. Okay, so basically the people who have the rights of the mabi. Kashirb, this is shirb. Okay, shirb. Shirb means the rights of drinking. So let's say, for example, there's a body of water and neighbors have the right to use that water. You call it the rights of shirb. Tariq is road. Jar is neighbor. Okay, so neighbor. And sharik is, again, shaman, partner. Another word for khalit. Fi tariq was shirb. Wal jar shuf'a. Sallama yusallimu is to hand over. Right, so to hand over. Okay, so to hand over. This basically is sallama yusallimu taslim. Okay, shuf'a. فإن سلم الجار تجب بعقد. عقد is a contract. تستقر, it means it remains. Okay, so to remain. Ishhad, it means to make witness, to make others a witness. Tumlaku, it means to become owned. Malaka yamliku. Right, so this is the majhul form. It's quite long today. I know. Akhd. Akhad is to take. Some of you guys I know have been anticipating for a very long time for this chapter. Mushtari is a buyer. Hakim is the authority, the judge. Shafi is the one who is taking the right of shuf'a. Ashhadu, it means I bear witness. Majlis, it means the gathering. Right, this word has come many times before as well. Mutalaba is demand or request. Okay, so to request. Nahada yanhadu is to stand. Nahada yanhadu. Okay, and then yadihi or al-mubta'. Mubta' meaning the buyer. Yeah, so the buyer. Yeah, it's called a mubta'. Mushtari, another word for mushtari. Aqar is property. Istaqarrat, it means to remain. Istaqarra yastaqirru. Shuf'atuhu ولم تسقط تأخير, delay. تركها شهرا بعد الإشهاد بطل شفعته وشفع واجب في العقار وإن كان مما لا يقسم. Okay, so again, a lot of these words are straightforward for you guys, I know. So I don't want to spend too much time in trying to explain these kind of things. Okay, so يقسم, it means to be divided, something that's dividable. Okay, so divided. And then كالحمام, like the hammam. Okay, so hammam is basically a bathhouse. Roha is a mill, a stone mill. Bi'r is a well, you guys know that. Dur is the jama of dar, which means homes. Sigar, jama of sagir, small. Bina, structure. Nakhal, date palms. Bi'a, to be sold. Bidun al-arasa. Arasa means like the courtyard or the ground area. Urud, so it's basically trade stock, right? So trade stock. Sufun, jama of safina, boat, ship. Muslim is obviously a Muslim. Dhimmi is a non-Muslim living in a Muslim state. Shuf'a, sawa, malaka, iwad. Iwad means exchangeable item. Iwad, ayn, wawda. Iwad. Okay, that's basically that. Now let's have a look at Tarkeeb. I know some of you guys are just fascinated with Tarkeeb. Yeah, you know, some of you guys, I think when you die, you should have your Tarkeeb written on your gravestone. Yeah, make sure you tell your relatives. Or my Tarkeeb written. Alright, so كتاب الشفعة. So هذا كتاب الشفعة مبتدأ خبر. شفعة مبتدأ واجبة خبر للخليط جار مجرور في نفس المبيع ثم للخليط جار في حق المبيع كالشرب والطريق ثم للجار جار مجرور ليس للشريك في الطريق والشرب والجار شفعة. This is the ism of ليس. Alright, so it goes back to ليس. مع الخليط فإن سلم فالشفعة مبتدأ للشريك في الطريق فإن سلم أخذها فعل الجار فاعل. Okay, next. والشفعة تجب بعقد البيع وتستقر بالإشهاد وتملك. Right, so this is مجهول. ملك يملك تملك بالأخذ إذا سلمها المشتري أو حكم بها حاكم. Right, so حكم بها حاكم. That's going to be the fi'l and that's going to be the file. Alright, let's move it up a bit. So وإذا علم الشفيع بالبيع أشهد. So أشهد يشهد إشهاد في المجلس ذلك على المطالبة ثم ينهض منه فيشهد أو فيشهد على البائع إن كان المبيع في يده أو على المبتاع أو عند العقار فإذا فعل ذلك استقرت شفعته. See that? That's going to be the fi'l. It's going to be the file. ولم تسقط. Right, so لم تسقط بالتأخير عند أبي حنيفة وقال محمد إن تركها شهرا. Right, so شهرا إن تركها مدة شهر. Yeah, the period. So tell me, why is this mansub? بعد الإشهاد بطلت فعل شفعته is going to be the fa'il and the new sentence والشفعة واجبة في العقار وإن كان مما لا يقسم or يقسم. You can be, I'm going to put يقسم مجرد كالحمام. Now حمام, don't get this confused with حمام. Yeah, حمامة is a pigeon. حمام is a bath. والرحى الرحى is a mill. والبئر والدور الصغار new sentence. ولا شفعة في البناء والنخل إذا بيع بدون العرصة ولا شفعة. Okay, so this is a new sentence again. في العروض والسفن والمسلم والذمي مبتدأ في الشفعة سواء وإذا ملك يملك العقار مفعول به بعوض هو مال. So بعوض هو مال وجبت فيه الشفعة. شفعة becomes necessary. Right, so let's have a go. Now, chapter of Shufa is quite long. It's like almost long as the Ijara one. So we're going to try to cover this as best as we can. All right, so let's have a go at this then. So, what is Shufa? So Shufa is basically like this. Imagine, for instance, there is a property. Now, I'm going to do like a bit of a 3D drawing here because I have to show my drawing skills to you guys. Alright, now I'm going to do 3D drawing here because this 3D house is basically the house which is shared by two people. So this property, let's say for example, it's shared by these two people. So this guy, he owns half of it, and this guy, he owns the other half. Alright, so this is shared ownership of the same property. So let's say for example, this guy over here, he decides that he wants to sell the house, his share. All right, so he owns 50% of it. So 50% is his, and 50% belongs to this guy. Now, if this guy wants to sell 50% of it, what he has to do is, first of all, he has to seek permission whether this guy wants it or not. If this guy wants it, if he says, he's either going to say, yes, I want it, or he's going to say, no. All right, so if he says yes, then obviously he takes it. If he says no, now the seller can go and sell it on to the next person who has a right. So this guy, first of all, has a right. Then number two, it's those people that they share the same amenities. So imagine, for example, this is a house. And let's say, for example, this is another house. Right? So this is another house that shares the same, like, let's say this is a cul-de-sac. All right? So you know what a cul-de-sac is, like a, closed off road. And this guy over here, let's call him, I should have given these guys names, shouldn't I? Let's call this guy Mr. Raja. Mr. Raja, he now has to be asked, do you want to buy the house? Because he's got second right now. So after the shared owner, you have this other guy which is known as the guy who shares the same amenities. What does amenities mean? Like shares the same pathway to get to the house, shares the same water supply, etc. So he's going to get permission from him. If he doesn't want it, then after that, it's going to go to the neighbor now, right? So I should have actually done this in a different color because it's just going to become very confusing to you guys, yeah? So let's do it in yellow now. So this guy, let's say, for example, if I was to get rid of this, all right, so get rid of all that and just put this guy over here. This guy basically he's got property over there. So his property is the back of that house, right? It's connected. He doesn't share the same road. His entrance is on the other street, right? So there's another street over there. So now this guy over here, he actually has, this guy over here, let's call him Mr. Khan. Okay, Mr. Khan, he has third right now. So now he's got to ask him permission. Once these three groups of people, they say no, now this guy can sell it to whoever he wants. All right, so everyone understand? This is what Shuf'a is basically all about. Now, one thing to note over here, why do we have Shuf'a in Islam? Why can't you just sell, like you can sell your laptop or you can sell your car to anyone you want? Why do you have to go and seek permission from these three groups of people? Because neighborhoods usually are something which is very tricky, especially when new people move in and there's antisocial behavior, people fighting with each other, arguing with each other. This is something that causes people to have arguments. Yeah, so this is why you only want those people who everyone's happy with. So obviously the partner is going to be happy with him buying the property, and the guy on the street, he's already living there. So if he buys the property over there, he's not really going to be causing a nuisance. And the other guy on the other side, yeah. Does that make sense? Khalas? Right, let's have a look at this text now. Let's try to break this down. So, Kitab al-Shuf'ati, chapter of preemption. Al-Shuf'atu, so Shuf'a is necessary lil khaliti. So this guy is the khalit, Mr. Khalit. Fi nafsil mabi'i. I think I should have drawn the picture a bit bigger, shouldn't I? Do you guys think the picture should have been a bit bigger? Yeah, I think the picture should have been a bit bigger. Yeah, I don't know why I did it like this. Why can't I? Yeah, I think if I do that, maybe, and then do that, okay, that's a bit better. Bigger. Right. So, Shuf'a is necessary lil khaliti, for the khalit, fi nafs al mabi, in the mabi, the sold item itself. Thumma, then lil khaliti fi haqq al mabi, then for the khalit, for the sharer or the partner, in the rights of the mabi. So this is the mabi, the rights that these two properties share, like the road pathway or the kashirbi, like the drinking rights, and the tariq and the road. Thumma lil jari, and then for the jar. Right, so this guy is the neighbor, and jar is basically someone besides these two whose house is connected there. Right, so In our times today, it would be a bit tricky. Like, for example, if you live on a road that's an open road, then the people on that road will be treated like jars, right? So if you live in a house and you've got property, on your street, so then the people around your house would be considered to be like the jars. You ask them first, right? If you don't have the first two, right? Which we technically don't have the first two in many of these streets. I can't think of people that share the same, unless you live in a cul-de-sac maybe here. Okay. وَلَيْسَ لِلْخَلِيطِ فِي الطَّرِيقِ. So now he wants to just break this down into a bit more detail. So he says, لَيْسَ لِلْخَلِيطِ لِلشَّرِيكِ. It is not the right of the sharik في الطريق. So sharik في الطريق is Mr. Raja. وَالشِّرْبِ, and drinking rights. وَالْجَارِ, and the neighbor. شُفْعَةٌ, any shuf'a, مَعَ الْخَلِيط, when the khalit exists, when the partner in the property exists. Right. First of all, he has priority. So number 1, number 2, and number 3, you can say. If I write that down, I think it'll make more sense. So 1, him, then 2, and then 3. Right. So that's in order of priority. Now, فَإِن سَلَّمَ. Right. So in sallama, if he was to hand it over, if this guy was to hand over, meaning hand over means saying I don't want it. Sallama means I don't want it. فَالشُّفْعَةُ لِلشَّرِيكِ, then the shuf'a will be for the sharik, فِي الطَّرِيقِ, in the road and in the drink. فَإِن سَلَّمَ, if he hands it over, Mr. Raja says I don't want it, أَخَذَهَا الْجَارِ, then the jar can take it. And if he doesn't want it, then it can be sold to anyone you want. Does everyone understand? Khalas. Okay, now how do you establish shuf'a? This is like a very sort of like tricky situation where, let's say for example, let's say there's a house over here. And I'm going back to 2D mode, guys. Yeah. By the way, guys, if you guys like my videos, if you enjoy them, please share them with others. Helps me a lot to get the videos out there and exposure, and then the algorithms and the YouTube channel. And if you guys want to support my channel on a monthly basis, you want to donate towards my channel, then check out the links below. There's links there. You can contact me as well, and inshallah you can help whatever way you can. So this guy, he owns this house, right? Now, he has gone and sold his house without telling his neighbor to this guy. All right, so the neighbors, the shafi, doesn't know. So where is the shafi? Shafi, for example, let's say he's gone on Umrah. He's gone on an Umrah trip. Yeah, he's gone Umrah. He doesn't even know. And this guy over here, right, let's call him Zaid. Zaid has gone and sold the property to Khalid. Okay, so Zaid has sold the property to Khalid. Now he's not supposed to do that, but he's done it. So now what happens is this guy over here, this Umrah, let's call him Mr. Raja. Yeah, so Mr. Raja. Mr. Raja comes back now. Now he finds out that the house has been sold. What does he do? Yeah, so remember, let's say for example, I don't know, next door neighbor, he's one of those, the third one, yeah, next door neighbor. He's found out now. So now what he has to do is he has to do 2 things before he can actually file a court case. Yeah, so he's got to do 2 things. These 2 things are basically, he has to do something known as ishhad, right? So he has to make witness times 2 that he wants the property. So he's got to basically show interest in the property, and that's how you show interest. Soon as he finds out that the house has been sold, he's going to now go and show interest. So how does he show this interest? That's the thing that we want to understand, right? How does he show this interest? So first of all, number 1, for this case to be heard, there has to be a sale. He has to prove that a sale has taken place. Yeah. So that's the first thing that's going to happen. Then what's going to happen is that he has to go. So he's going to make one witness, one testimony. He's going to make in front of people. So he's going to say it in front of others. He's going to say, I want this house. So these are people out there. He said, I bear witness that I want this house. Right? So if the court asks, he's just going to take him to court and say, like, they heard me say it. This is the first witnessing. All right? So this is number 1. And then the second is that he either goes to the seller, number 1, or he goes to the buyer, number 2, or he goes to the property, and he's got to do a second witnessing. This is the second witnessing that he does. Yeah. So he makes people witness that I have, shown interest in this. All right, so that's basically the two types of situations that he has. All right, so let's have a look at this then. So he says, وَالشُّفْعَةُ تَجِبُ Shuf'a becomes necessary بِعَقْدِ الْبَيْءِ. There has to be a sale there. وَتَسْتَقِرُّ بِالْإِشْهَادِ. And it becomes firm with testimony. So two testimonies, which we're going to talk about. وَتُمْلَكُ بِالْأَخْذِ. And then it becomes owned by taking. So once, he's won the case, he doesn't become the owner of it until he takes it. Then he's got to pay the money to the seller, and then the previous contract has to be void. إِذَا سَلَّمَهَا الْمُشْتَرِي. If the mushtari, in this case Khalid, hands the property over to Raja, أو حكم بها حاكم, or an authority passes a ruling regarding it. Right? So that's basically you can say the gist of exactly what's going to happen in the court case, and I've told you about the two witnesses which we're going to be talking about now. So what's the details of all of this then? So let's have a look at the details. So the details of this. All right, so let's have a look. He says, وَإِذَا عَلِمَ. Let's do another nice color. All right, let's do blue. So he says, وَإِذَا عَلِمَ الشَّفِيءُ بِالْبَيْءِ. So this guy, Raja, he's now become aware of the transaction. Right, so he's become aware of it. Ashhada. So when the Shafi becomes aware of the bay trade, Ashhada fi majlis. He has to make witnesses in that gathering, the gathering in which he heard for the first time that the house has been sold. Whoever is there, he's got to make them witnesses. So this is going to then later on potentially be used in court. ذَلِكَ, in that gathering, عَلَى الْمُطَالَبَةِ, of the request. ثُمَّ, so this is the first witness. ثُمَّ يَنْهَضُ مِنْهُ, then he gets up from there. فَيُشْهِدُ عَلَى الْبَائِعِ, then he either goes to the seller and he gives testimony in front of the seller. In كَانَ الْمَبِيءُ, if the mabi, the goods, the property is in his hand still. So he hasn't exchanged hands yet. Or عَلَى الْمُبْتَاعِ, mubta' means this buyer. Or he has to go to the buyer and do the witnessing. Or if he can't go there, then this is if the buyer has it. If none of them are available, then he just goes to the property and he basically makes someone witness. Does that make sense? So this is, you can almost say this is like, let me just try to, this is the three areas that he goes to after the first witnessing. Now after he's done all of this, now he can start the court case. The court won't listen to him if he has not done this. فَإِذَا فَعَلَ ذَلِكَ. So when he does that, استقرت شفعة, his shuf'a becomes established now. Right? It becomes like firm. وَلَمْ تَسْقُطْ بِالتَّأْخِيرِ. Now, next masala. All right. So, everyone understand it up to there? Okay. So, if you didn't understand it, try watching it again, inshallah. All right. Now, let's have a look at this one over here now. So, the masala is quite straightforward. That's why there's not too many scenarios that we need to deal with. وَلَمْ تَسْقُطْ بِالتَّأْخِيرِ. Now, the question here is that, let's say, for instance, this is, actually, let's see if I can bring that one down. I don't know why this is not doing what I wanted it to do. Okay, so what happens over here? So let's say, for instance, Zayd has gone and sold his house to Khalid. Right? So he sold his house to Khalid. And once he sold it, Raja was in Umrah. The neighbor Raja, Mr. Raja was in Umrah. So what happens is, he comes back, he does the three things, or the two things rather, the witnessing. Right? So he does witness, he makes people a witness that he wants he's done that, but he has delayed. How much delay can he do before he goes to court? So he's done the witnessing, and now how? So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimullah, he says, from the time of the witnessing, so witnessing times 2, there is no period of time. In other words, he can make the claim after 1 year, 2 years. So in other words, after making the claim, he has forever when he can make the claim. Imam Muhammad says that's unfair. So Imam Muhammad, he disagrees. He says he only has 1 month. So within a month, 30 days he has to make the claim in the court. If he delays it after 1 month, the courts will ignore it now. Right? So this is very important, Imam Muhammad says, because people's rights are involved here, and the guy could, do renovations to the house and build extension and do all sorts of things and sell it off to someone else, and it just causes problems. All right? So this is why he says, if you look at this then, وَلَمْ تَسْقُطْ, and it will not drop بِالتَّأْخِيرِ, by delaying, according to Abu Hanif and Muhammad, in وقال Muhammad, Imam Muhammad says, إِن تَرَكَهَا شَهْرًا, if he leaves it for an entire month, بَعْدَ الْإِشْهَادِ, after doing the witnessing, he just leaves it, doesn't bother going to court, بَطَلَتْ شُفْعَتُهُ, his claim has now been void, now cancelled. Okay. Alright, now what kind of things can you do shuf'a in? So shuf'a can only be done in physical property, right? Estate over here. So shuf'a wajibatun is necessary fil aqari, in estate, real estate, like land and buildings. وَإِن كَانَ مِمَّا لَا يُقَسَّمْ, even if it's something which cannot be divisible. So a bath is like a property, isn't it? A building, right? So let's just write this down then. So baths, bath houses, mills, because mills is like a property as well. It's firm, it's not going to move. Wells, someone's selling a well, right? Small homes, even if it's small homes, right? So all these things, these are all things that are potentially they're subject to shufa. All right, so subject to shufa, all of these things can be, this is why he says, kal hammam, like bathhouses, roha, mills, wells, small homes, anything, as long as it's something that's fixed in the ground, property. Okay, what kind of things is there no shufa in? He says, there is no shufa in a structure that's sold without the land. So, sometimes, I don't know if you've seen it, but sometimes in today's times, people actually sell buildings that you can actually fold away, or you can lift and you can transport it from one part of the country to another part of the country. Yeah, so these kind of like fold awayable, I don't know, what's the name for these kind of buildings? Yeah, transportable buildings, or these cabin huts that you can just lift up and move from one place to another. You can't do shufa in those because these are not fixed to the ground. So la shufa'ata fi, there's no shufa in any structure or in any trees idha bi'a, when they are sold without the land. Right? The land is the important, the arsa, the plot of land around it. Wala shufa, and also there is no shufa when it comes to things like ships as well. Right? So ships, boats, right? Because these things are not fixed to the ground. Right? So these are portable. So mobile phones and laptops and fruit and veg and all these things, right? All of them are technically not. So la shufa, there is no shufa fil urud. Al-urud means business stock and sufun. So business stock and sufun, ships. Okay, the rights of Muslims and dhimmis are equal when it comes to this. So even if the Zayd was a non-Muslim and his neighbor was a Muslim, or they were non-Muslims or whatever, right? Uncle Raja was a non-Muslim. This is basically what happens. So he says, وَالْمُسْلِمُ, a Muslim, وَالذِّمِّ فِي الشُّفْعَةِ, in regards to shuf'a, preemption, are equal. وَإِذَا مَلَكَ الْأَقَارَ, when a person has now owned the aqar, بِعِوَضٍ هُوَ مَالٌ وَجَبَتْ فِيهِ شُفْعَةٌ. This is I'm going to explain to you next lesson in a bit more detail. But the gist of this is that when a person has now owned, so for example, in this case, Khalid has now bought the property for, let's say, 200k. Right? So £200,000 this property has been purchased for. That £200,000 is what we call iwad. It's an iwad, it's an exchangeable item. Huwa malun, which is considered legally to be mal. Wajabat fi shufa, shufa will become necessary. So what that basically is saying, that if property has been exchanged but not in exchange for mal, like for example free of charge, like a gift, if Zayd was to gift the house to Khalid, or it was, let's say for example, mahar, like it's going to come next week, then there is no shufa in the Raja, Mr. Raja, Uncle Raja, he does not get any of the rights of the property, right? Because he only has a right when a sale takes place, and for a sale to take place there has to be two sides. Does that make sense? Yeah, inshallah, makes sense. Okay, let's have a little look, khulasa, summarization of exactly what is happening over here. So we've only really covered three or major issues over here. So what are the major issues? So I'm going to ask you questions, you answer them. Okay, what is shufa? Answer that. Okay, shufa is where the neighbor or partner has the right to buy the property before they sell it to someone else. Okay, tell me in order the people who have the rights of shufa. So you'd say the first is the one who shares the same property. The second is the one who shares the same amenities of that property. And the third one is the person who is a neighbor, right? Okay. Then if the partner in the same property gives up his right, who does it go to? It goes to the guy sharing the same amenities. And if he gives it up, it goes to the third person. Okay. How does Uncle Raja or Mr. Raja, how does he claim shufa? What's the method of claiming shufa? So what he has to do is first of all establish that a sale has taken place. Once a sale has taken place, he has to do the two witnesses. And what are the two witnesses? He has to first of all tell everyone that he's interested as soon as he heard the news. Number two, he has to either go to the seller, the buyer or the property, whoever has it, and make witnesses there. And then number three, he's going to go to court, right? And he's going to file his case. How long does he have to file the case after the witnessing? So according to Abu Hanifa, forever. According to Sahibain, or not Sahibain, Muhammad, according to Muhammad, he says 1 month. Right, so he only has 1 month. Okay, what kind of things can you not do shufa in? So you can only do shufa in anything that's fixed to the ground, like land, buildings, etc. You can't do shufa in anything which is not fixed to the ground. Like what? Like mobile phones and cars and ships in the sea and business stock, right? All these kind of things you are not allowed to do trade in them because they are not fixed to the land, and that's the right of the land. Okay, when does shufa become necessary? So it only becomes necessary if a proper trade has taken place where things from one side have been exchanged with the other side. Now if you remember, we did iqala. Remember iqala. Go over your iqala, go over the video, and then next lesson inshallah I'm going to explain to you about that issue, right? And if I forget, remind me. And that's it, guys. So jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Again, thank you to all my patrons for supporting my channel on a monthly basis. You guys are wonderful. You guys don't even know their names, but these guys are beautiful people. Honestly, I make so much dua for these people. Supporting the channel and getting the sadaqah jariyah of all the videos that I make. If any of you guys want to support this channel and information, please contact me. Details in the comments below. You can support me through PayPal or even through Patreon. And there's some perks as well. Those who are on Patreon, they get some extra videos that I don't put up on here. Alright guys, take care. I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.